In this lesson, we're going to learn about tag change scripts. First, we're going to look at client-scoped tag change scripts. So, in this example project, I have two windows. I have the main window that has a checkbox, and this checkbox simply writes to this open the window tag. And what we want to do is we want to open up this pop-up window when this tag changes. And so the best way to do this is with a client-scoped tag change script. So we go under Client Event Scripts and choose Tag Change. And you can have lots of client tag change scripts. So we need to add one here. And we can give it a name. Let's call it Window Opener. And we want to trigger this script, let's say, only when the value changes. And now we need to add all of the tags that are going to trigger this script. And you can have multiple tags in this list, just one tag per line, and when any of those tags change, it will trigger this script to run. Now when this script runs, you're going to get three variables given to you. One of them is event, which is a tag change event object, and the most important part of that is that it has the tag path on it. So in the case where you've configured a tag change script that can be triggered from multiple paths, you can check which tag has changed using the event.tag path property. There's also the initial change flag. So there's a variable here called initial change, like that, initial change, that's a 0 or a 1 based on whether or not this script was triggered by subscribing to the tag or not. So whenever you first start up a system and it subscribes to all the tags, it gets an initial change event saying, well, the tag didn't really just change right now, but you just subscribed, so we figured we might want to let you know what the initial value is. And so sometimes that's really useful for a tag change script, and sometimes it's not. And so if you want to consume that initial value, you don't have to worry about this initial change, but if you want to ignore that initial value, you would want to not run your script if the initial change flag is set to true. And lastly, we have the new value variable. New value is a qualified value, so it itself contains a value, quality, and timestamp, and this tells you what value the tag changed to. And so in our case, new value is really what we care about, because we only want to open our pop-up window when this Boolean has become true. So we can just do something like this. If new value dot value, and that's a Boolean, so that's all we need. So if that value is true, then we want to run system dot nav dot open window, and we want to open the pop-up window. And let's just center it too. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this tag change script and launch a client, and we can watch our tag change script in action. So we're going to go ahead and write a true value to this tag, and ta-da, our pop-up window is opened. And if we go into the client diagnostics in the console, we can see the result of those printouts that we printed out. So here is the, this is the initial change that the script got. So when we very first started up the client, by subscribing to this tag, we got one of our events fired. And so our script ran, you can see initial change is 1 and the value is false. And because we were checking the value for opening up the pop-up, it didn't open up the pop-up at that point. And then here's the second time that that script ran. In this case, initial change is 0 and the value is true, and that's when we opened our pop-up window. Gateway event scripts work in much the same way that client event scripts work in. You can see the UI here is exactly the same. Again, it's just important to remember what I was talking about with the initial change, because if you have a whole bunch of gateway tag change scripts, don't be surprised with the idea that all of them are going to run when the system starts up because they've gotten that initial change. So if that's a problem for the logic that you're executing in your gateway tag change script, you can just protect against that with the initial change flag.